I called this segment, I'm referring to the TDS is Trump derangement syndrome, but the Democrat Trump derangement syndrome endangers America. And I really, really mean that. We're at a time where we're in the 2020 elections. We have primaries coming up. We're going to have Super Tuesday is going to happen before we know it. We have however many people are left, and I can't even keep track, 12, I think, left, maybe 11 or 12 left running for president on the Democrat side of the aisle. And the top contenders, the people who actually they want to be your president, their main reaction to the taking out of this evil Iranian general representing Iran that's been essentially at war with America since its revolution in 1979. Their reaction is to defend him, to speak of him as a leader, as a military leader, a respected leader. I mean, on and on. And I want to tell you why this is so important. I'm going to play a clip in just a second, which is one of the Democrat presidential contenders, Elizabeth Warren, was on CNN with Jake Tapper, blathering on and on about questioning why President Trump did this. But I want to make a couple points that really matter. Number one, the Democrats are so blinded by their hatred of President Trump, by their determination to take back the White House, their determination to discredit him, that they would rather criticize and attack an American military action that took out a man who has literally been responsible for the murder and maiming of hundreds of Americans. They'd rather praise that guy, call into question Donald Trump, than be able to say, thank God that America took charge and America fought back against the Iranian regime. This is what everyone tuned into the facts should be saying. Thank God we had a president and a military willing and able to take out this guy. But instead, they're trying to find some way to dance around the issue, to say, well, I'm not really sure. I mean, I know he was a really bad guy and everything. Same people who seem to be fine with taking out Osama bin Laden when President Obama did that. That was a great thing. No problem with that. This is a guy equal in stature and level of evil and mayhem and death and destruction he has inflicted in the world. And somehow they cannot admit that it's a good thing. So, quick clip for you. This is Elizabeth Warren talking to CNN with Jake Tapper. Matt, the very wonderful producer, I believe, has it ready.
Next week, the President of the United States could be facing an impeachment trial in the Senate. We know he's deeply upset about that. And I think people are reasonably asking, why this moment? Why does he pick now to take this highly inflammatory, highly dangerous action that moves us closer to war? We've been at war for 20 years in the Middle East. We need to stop the war in the Middle East, not expand it.
Senator, are you suggesting that President Trump pulled the trigger and had Qasem Soleimani killed as a distraction from impeachment?
Look, I think people are reasonably asking about the timing. This is not a moment when a president should be escalating tensions and moving us to war.
Well,
the job of the president is to keep us safe, and that means move back from the edge.
This is a woman who shouldn't be in charge of anything, let alone be president of the United States. I'll tell you another problem with, beside that all issues are decided in the Democrats' brains based on how can I hurt President Trump. Number two is, this is a woman who is so profoundly unfamiliar, so ignorant about the danger posed by Iran, what Iran stands in this world, what they've done in the past, so ignorant that, and it is even just ignorance, it's worse than ignorance. It is having no moral capacity to make a distinction between the evil represented by Soleimani, represented by the jihadist government of Iran, and America. She actually thinks that somehow if we just pull away, if we just Iran will leave us alone, that the Islamic regimes of the world, the jihadist regimes of the world will leave us alone, that they'll be fine. We're just going to pull back. She doesn't realize what President Trump was doing is fighting back against an enemy that means to destroy us. She has no perception of the danger that Iran poses to the world, especially someone like Soleimani. And even worse, she's embraced that left wing moral equivalency of all things. Who's to say that Islamic jihad is just as great as American people? You think I'm exaggerating, but she cannot get to that moral conclusion. She can't bring herself to admit this was a really bad guy representing a really bad regime, and the world's better off without him. She can't do it. Similarly, the two other of the highly, the high contenders, the top contenders to be president of the United States on the Democrat side, you had Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders actually, in an interview, equated the American decision to take out an Iranian general who had orchestrated the attack on the American embassy, ordered the planning of the IEDs, been responsible for the death and destruction of hundreds and hundreds of Americans, thousands of people all over the Middle East. And Bernie Sanders equated America's ending this man's life with Russia's Putin sometimes killing Russian dissidents. He actually said that in an interview. I mean, just like, Putin shouldn't be killing dissidents in his own country, Trump shouldn't have killed Soleimani. People, this is a dangerous man. This is a man who is living in his head, where his head is, where his thinking is a globalist, is a man with no sense of what America is, what it stands for, the righteousness, the goodness of America. He can't see that. He can't. This is a globalist mindset that would equate America's military taking out a guy who represents the country of Iran, been at war with America for 40 years, works every day to kill Americans and to destroy America. And he thinks it's equivalent to Putin killing his own citizens, dissident citizens in his country. This is a dangerous, dangerous man, has no business running for anything close to the presidency of the United States of America. Biden had similarly idiotic statements. I'm going to run out of time here. We got to start a little bit late today, but I want to urge you again to go to our website, KimmyTalk.org. Brilliant, brilliant piece by Joe Lieberman, the former United States Senator from Connecticut, who was actually the chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee. I forget which committee it was, but he was a serious, serious player in the United States Senate for years, a Democrat who has weighed in via a piece he had placed in the Wall Street Journal, weighed in to make the point that the Democrats are dangerously partisan on this subject of dealing with Iran. Lieberman, is criticizing the Elizabeth Warrens, the Bernie Sanders, the Nancy Pelosi's, the leftists in this country who are attacking President Trump for taking out Soleimani. Lieberman's point being, you can't politicize foreign policy. You have to recognize defense of America is a bigger issue than politics at home and which team you play for, the R's or the D's. He is pointing out the evil of Soleimani, the need to stand up against him, the need to stand up against Iran, the complete legal and moral authority President Trump had to order this killing. Lieberman lays all that out, and you're never going to get anyone running for president on the Democrat side to listen to that, but they should. Lieberman lays out a whole bunch of logic, again, at our website at AmericanChimmyTalk.org, on the homepage, under shows, drop down, list of links. You can read this editorial. I cannot urge you strongly enough to read it.